Yo boys, DDB here on the Warven beta once again. Today we're going to be looking at the new melee trinkets that they've added, which are coming from mainly dungeons and raids. Basically getting a quick look at how they're performing and how strong they are, etc. I'm going to be doing the testing for agility trinkets as my monk, and then as strength will be on the warrior. Keep in mind that you shouldn't be looking at the class performance in this as much, as I'm not going to be running like optimal build rotations, etc. To pump, and we're just going to be looking at the actual trinket damage and the uptime. I'll be doing the test on 3 targets, just so the trinkets that are doing split damage or AoE can be shown. For the on-use ones, I'll show you a quick clip of me pressing the button and just seeing how much it does, etc. But for anything proc-based, I'm mainly going to be doing a 2-minute test, and I'll skip to the end and show what it's doing. So yeah, let's get into it. So first we'll look at the agility trinkets on the monk. So first we've got Twin Fang Instruments, which is just opening a pouch, doing a bunch of shadow damage in front of you, and then you can use it 2 more times after casting it. It's got a 2-minute cooldown. So let's use this real quick.
I can't use that item yet.
So you see it's cleaving in front of us, but it isn't actually showing on the details, which is weird. But yeah. So next we've got Charged Stormrook Plume. We're just going to hold on for it for a second, and it's going to do a bunch of nature damage, split between all enemies, and it's got a 1 minute and 30 cooldown. So it sort of sends you towards the enemy as a little lightning orb. So yeah, it's pretty cool. As you can see, this is the damage. And next we've got Empowering Crystal of the... I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. So yeah, it reads that your spells and abilities have a chance to let loose a Empowering Crystal, increasing your random secondary stat for X amount, 20 seconds. So for this we're just going to have to do a 2-minute test, and I'll be back in a sec. Here that we've come up to the 2-minute mark. So this obviously being a stat-based trinket, we're just going to look at the uptime on it. As you can see here, it's got about 55%, which isn't bad. So for the next one is going to be Harvesting Addict. This is basically just going to do a bunch of AoE damage around you, but you can also intercept the orb that's going to be doing the damage, and it will instead give you a mastery bump. I won't do a 2-minute test for this, but I'll just show you the orb as it's spawning. So you can see there that I intercepted the orb that was about to hit the target. If it obviously hit the target, it would have just done a bunch of damage, but instead I've got a buff now for just over 3000 mastery. Next is going to be Void Reaper's Contact, which is going to summon like a phantom that's going to do a bunch of damage. And then the second effect is if the target's below 35%, the effect is summon additional phantom at additional phantoms at 25% effectiveness. So I won't be able to test the secondary effect on this as the target's HP doesn't really move. But yeah, I'll do a 2-minute test anyways. Now it's a 2-minute mark here. Let's see how much damage they dealt. So they did about 1 mil, which is okay. Obviously just 3 targets again as well. I'm assuming they mainly do single target damage. So not bad, but not great to be honest. And then the last agility one we've got is Conductor's Wax Whistle. Your attacks have a chance to direct a cart towards your target. That'll do a bunch of damage split between all enemies. So let's give that a go. Again here, we're coming up to the end of this. Let's have a look at how much they've done. So it's here, Collision, done about just over 1 mil. So again, not bad, but not great. I've definitely seen this been higher, so it's proc chance obviously, so there's a bit of RNG tied into it. So for the strength ones, there's actually only 4, but the first one we're going to get into is Scarm Shard. Grasp the shard tightly to enrich yourself with crystallized energy, increase your mastery by 5.4 for 15 seconds. So this is pretty perfect to be honest for warriors. And then if you kill enemies, you get a mastery bump just over 100 for 15 seconds, and it stacks up to 5 times. So I'll just quickly use this here, and you can see it just gives me a buff. Currently no tool to it, but yeah, you get the idea. The next one's going to be Sky Terror's Corrosive Organ. So we use it and it's going to do a bunch of nature damage every 1 second for 20. But then we've got another effect where it intensifies the acids, dealing additional X amount of damage and splashing up to 5 nearby enemies. So we're just going to be wanting to like keep on hitting the enemy as we use it. So we'll do a 2-minute test for this one. So you can see here that'll come up to the 2-minute mark. Obviously it's just come off cooldown. But yeah, you can see here there's about 1.13. Obviously, and then it's got an after effect here, which is just over or just close to 200k. But yeah, it would be doing a lot more because it'd be pressing it on the 2-minute mark. So the next one's going to be Oppressive Orator's Larynx. So your attacks are going to have a chance to stir the larynx, allowing its dark whispers to influence you. Each whisper flows through your mind for 30 seconds, granting strength. And then it's got an on-use that just does a bunch of damage. You can see just over, or just under 800k over 3 seconds, split between all enemies. And then whispers leave to join the chorus, increasing its damage before falling silent. 2-minute cooldown, so let's give this a go. One thing you can note here is that it's actually stacked up to 5 times here. It's actually giving us a shitload of strength at the moment. Again, coming up to the 2-minute mark. So you can see here again, it's at 5 stacks. The highest I saw it was at 6, which is just over 5k strength, which is absolutely nutty. And then it's doing it's doing as much damage as most of the on-uses or the proc-based ones. It's up 93% of the time as well. So yeah, this trinket's busted at the moment for sure. And then the last one we've got is Void Packstone. Your attacks have a chance to call to the pack, exploding for just under 100k shadow damage. Split between all enemies and increasing your haste by 730 for 10 seconds. Your death breaks the pack, causing a violent explosion. Obviously, you wouldn't really want that part, but yeah. The area coming up to the 2-minute mark again. Let's see how it did in terms of damage. In terms of damage, 1.15, which is around what the last one was doing, and most of them are doing, to be honest. And the uptime's at 42%, which is okay. But yeah, I still think the last one that we tested, this one, Oppressive Orator's Larynx, is just way, way superior to every other trinket on this list. So the final part of this is just going to be us testing the 3 trinkets that are shared between agility and strength. The first one being Ravenous Honey Buzzer. It's just going to shoot us a fair distance, doing 750k fire damage split between all enemies. It's got a 1.5-minute cooldown, so let's see what that looks like real quick. It kind of shoots us towards it, and as you can see, just did under 1 mil, and it hit all 3 targets. So not great, but not bad. Obviously gives you a bit of movement as well. The next one's going to be Sigil of the Algeth'ar Concordance, which is a fairly simple trinket. Your abilities have a chance to call forth an ally in aid, supporting you in combat. So we'll do a 2-minute test on this one and just see how much damage they do. Again, coming up to the 2-minute mark, let's see how they did. I'm assuming it's Silver Vein, so they did just under 1 mil. Again, all the trinkets seem to do around 1 mil to about 1.3. So this one's on a bit of the weaker side, but they could have just not procced as much. But yeah. So the last one is quite interesting actually. It's a Cicrin's Endless Arsenal. Assume a martial stance based on the current weapon drawn, so you always have one weapon drawn at a time. So the first one is Cicrin's Flourish. Conjure dual swords from your arsenal to render your target, dealing 450k shadow damage over 3 seconds. And then it also gives us a bit of parry and avoidance. So on this one I'll actually use it 3 times because it has 3 different types of abilities. So we'll hit the 2-minute mark and we'll just press it again and then we'll show you how much it's doing. As you can see again, we're coming up to the 2-minute mark. We're just going to press it one more time. See how much it's doing. So you can see again, it's like I said, it's 3 different types of strikes. So one's doing about 800, 460, and then 424. So it probably adds up to around 1.7. So this one's actually pretty good for sure, and it's a lot more interesting than the other ones. Right, boys. So that's it from me for the melee specific trinkets. Most of them seem pretty bland and boring, to be honest. There are some with a bit of flavour, but yeah, I think a lot of them that are like cool and all that are the general ones. Obviously, tuning should still come to these, and they might look a little bit different in the damage department, but the actual functionality should stay the same. Another quick thing to note is that if this video does well, I'll be going over the range-specific trinkets as well as the general trinkets for all classes. So yeah, if you guys have enjoyed, then don't forget to like and sub, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.